Hi, welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining me. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to utilize Waypoint mode to capture stunning time transitional videos. I'm fortunate to live in Essex near the Blackwater estuary, so I headed to Northey Island to take advantage of the causeway and tidal waters. Today I'm using the DJI Air 3, but the Mini 4 Pro and the latest Mavic models also have Waypoint mode. The first step is to get airborne and find a suitable location to start the recording. Once you have that, click the Waypoint mode button, which looks like a snake, on the left hand side of the screen. Now using the C1 button on the RC, mark the first waypoint. Next you'll need to fly to where you want the second waypoint to be. For this example, I'm flying in a straight line. Now that I've added the second waypoint, I'm going to bring the drone back to the start. You can see the first waypoint on the map in the bottom left. The next step is to click the box with the 1 inside and you'll see multiple options. I'll set the camera action as start recording. Once that's done, click waypoint number 2 and select stop recording. Use the arrows on the left to return to the main waypoint screen. Click next on the right hand side and set the speed you wish to fly the drone. I chose 4 meters per second, which in hindsight was a bit slow, but that can be fixed in the edit, and set end of flight to return to home. When you're happy with the settings, press go and the drone will fly to the first waypoint. Once there, it will begin recording and fly from point to point. There's an information panel that will display the elapsed time, which waypoint is currently flying from, and distance covered. Now it's reached waypoint 2, the recording stops and return to home engages. Now what we need is a low tide, which through the power of editing, Shazam! Between high and low tide is roughly around 6.5 hours, and I was fortunate to get both during the sunlight hours on the same day. For part 2, launch a drone and fly in the general direction of the first waypoint. It doesn't need to be exact, it's just quicker than the automated flight speed when you click go. When you're ready, press the waypoint mode again on the left hand side of the screen, but this time you'll need to press the list icon on the top left of the black panel. Click the waypoint saved earlier and it will load up with all the same settings. Press next, then go, and the drone will head back to waypoint 1 and repeat the flight. That's all of the flying completed. All that's left is to merge the 2 videos together. Okay, so on to the editing. What we want to do here is make transitions between the low and the high tide look as good as we possibly can. So first things first, we just need to go along the high tide video, the first one, and find where it starts to move. It's looking good. And with the low tide, you need to do the same thing. Yeah, about there. And so we know that we're at the exact same point in the video. We're going to turn the opacity down to about half. And we'll zoom in on something in the foreground. So just here, as you can see, they're misaligned at the moment, but we can solve that pretty quickly. Just zoom in so it's not moving along too much. So we'll play around with the timeline until we get them as close as we possibly can, which is about there. Cut off that piece and turn that back to 100%. And we'll get both of these at the start. So now we know they're moving at the same time. Next step is to go along to where we want the first transition to be. Let's say about 10 seconds in. We'll go slightly after. And what tends to happen with these clips is they'll start to be misaligned again. That's not a problem. Because this time we'll move the opacity down. And it's not bad. If we zoom in on here, you'll see it's not as perfect as it could be. So we'll take the bottom one, which is going to be the low tide, and we'll change the positions around. This will crop the video ever so slightly from 4K, but it's not that big a deal. It's hardly noticeable. It's looking pretty good. Next thing we need to do, I do this in a bit of, just out of habit, is to move that up and move that down and just swap them around. There's other ways of doing it, but that's how I like to do it. As you can see, that's not too bad. I'm going to put in a default transition, cross dissolve. Find that one works best. We'll make it about 3 seconds. And we'll zoom back out again. Put that back to fit. And we'll just see if that looks any good. Yeah, it's not too bad. That's the main way of doing it. You can see around here where we've cropped in slightly and changed the position. It will cause a misalignment, but that can be fixed as the last step. So we'll just do one more. We'll just repeat the process. We'll go to 20 seconds, create a cut again. Zoom in just after where that cut's going to be. Make sure that's on 100%. Put the opacity down again. We'll see whether it stayed in line or not. Yeah, it's still looking pretty good. If I zoom back in one more time down here, we'll start to see that it's going out again, but you have to just pick where the audience is looking. You see the horizon's not perfect. I imagine that the Enterprise drone with the added addition of more accuracy would probably be able to do this pinpoint, but we just need to use the tools we've got. So that's looking pretty good. We're going to swap these back around again. Add another default transition. Make that 3 seconds. Okay. And we'll do the same and just check and see how that looks. Not bad. So if we keep it that long, so say you can use multiple waypoints, you can make it as long as you like, change the length of the transitions, only have one if you're putting it in with other ones, however you want to do it really, but this is just the basic way of getting it moving between. As you see there, it doesn't look that perfect, but it's not bad. Lastly, I'm going to go back to here, click on there, get an adjustment layer. Both of these clips were shot D-Log-M, so they're pretty bland at the moment. I could do color grading, I quite like to do that, but we'll just keep it simple for now. Go into here, let's bump up that saturation. Play around with that, bring that down a little bit. We could punch a little bit more, then we'll just go and check that that looks fine as well on the low tide. Yeah. I know it's subjective, but I don't think that's too bad. So last step is to export, give it a name, call it Northy Tide. We'll get that exporting. One last thing on the editing. With the alignment being changed, you can end up with an overlap on the side of the video that you can see here. It's easy to fix that. I tend to import the clip again just to check everything over. And just up here, you can change the scale and just get rid of that little overhang. And it's all finished. Before I play the finished product, I just wanted to say, if you've made it this far, thank you very much. I hope it's of some help. If you have any other ideas of how this mode could be used, please leave a comment. If you could like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. I'll catch you on the next one.